Welcome to Zone 6 Picks, your go-to source for daily sports betting predictions, expert insights, and free picks across the biggest games in the NBA, WNBA, NFL, NCAA, and more. We specialize in delivering accurate, research-backed betting content with no subscriptions, no hidden fees, just straightforward betting advice you can trust. Before we begin, a quick shout-out from my partner Zone 6.
What's up, family? Thanks for tapping in with Zone 6 Picks, where we drop game picks every single day. Straight free picks, no pay for play. If you like winning, this is the zone you need to be in, Zone 6. Just show the channel some love, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't never miss a money play. Let's eat.
Yo, what's good, Zone 6 fam? We got a nice-sized WNBA slate today, and little time, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Before we start, though, I gotta say these last couple days have been rough on the picks. That's 0-4 on the last 4 picks. Hey, that's sports betting, slumps will happen, but I'm confident we'll bounce back starting today. Let's lock in and get to the bag. Games are early and we're short on time, so no in-depth graphics today. But the analysis is still on point. Our first matchup on deck. The Atlanta Dream hitting the road to face off with the Chicago Sky. But don't let the records fool you. This one's all about who's suiting up and who's not. Let's get right into it. Injury news first, and it's major. The Sky just took a huge hit. Angel Reese and Ariel Atkins both out. That's your top 2 scorers, your rebounder, your motor gone. Reese had been on a tear with 9 straight double-doubles and was leading the league in boards. Atkins was putting up 14.5 a night and went down in their last game. Chicago is seriously shorthanded. Atlanta is missing Ryan Howard, no doubt a key piece, but they still got Alicia Gray, who's averaging 18.6 points and starting in the All-Star game. That's a difference maker right there. Let's talk numbers. The Dream are sitting at 12-9, but they've stumbled lately, losing 3 of their last 4 and struggling on the road. Still, they're 5th in scoring and top 4 in offensive efficiency. They light it up from deep, averaging 9 threes a night. Defensively, middle of the pack, but good enough to hold down a wounded team like Chicago. Now for the Sky, they're 7-14, coming off a 91-78 loss to the Lynx. With their top guns out, they're left with question marks. They're 11th in scoring, dead last in defending the 3, and they give up over 86 points a game. Turnovers are killing them too. They gave up 24 points off 18 giveaways in their last outing. This line jumped from -2.5 all the way to -8.5 once the injury news dropped. That's serious movement, and it's justified. The Dream already beat Chicago twice this season, and both were double-digit wins. And look, the numbers back it. Atlanta has a plus 4.6 net rating, that's 5th in the league. Chicago, dead last at -8.8. So even if you're worried about Atlanta's road skid, this ain't the spot to fade them. Final call, I'm rolling with ATL -8.5. Projected final, Atlanta 88, Chicago 75. The Dream still got the firepower and the Sky just don't have enough left standing to keep this close. That's the play, lock it in. With the top down and music up, let's ride to Minnesota for a heavyweight WNBA clash as the Phoenix Mercury ride into the Target Center to take on the top-seeded Minnesota Lynx. Tip-offs at 1 p.m. Eastern, and this line has ballooned all the way to Lynx -10.5, and for good reason. Let's cook it. Injuries first, and they're major for Phoenix. The Mercury are without Sadu Sabli and Kali Copper. That's 35-plus points per night missing, gone. Added Monika Koamakani and Lexi Held. And this Phoenix squad is running real thin. Now don't get it twisted, they've been gritty. Phoenix has won 3 straight, including a tight one over Golden State. But this Minnesota squad is not the same beast. Minnesota is on a mission. They're 19-4, undefeated at home at 11-0. And Collier is putting up MVP numbers, 23.9 points, 7.7 boards, and nearly 2 steals and blocks a night. She's doing it all. The Lynx are shooting nearly 46% from the field. Top 3 in offense, and they've got the best defense in the league, allowing just 75 a night. And when they're at home, they clamp teams. Opponents are scoring only 70.5 per game in Minneapolis. And don't sleep on the turnover game. Minnesota leads the W in points off turnovers, turning defense into instant buckets. Phoenix, even healthy, tends to lean on pace and perimeter shooting. But missing Sabali's versatility and Copper's explosiveness is gonna leave them scrambling. Their effective field goal percentage is solid, but against this Lynx defense, it's a different type of pressure. Matchup history, Lynx got it. They've taken 2 of 3 this season, including a blowout 88-65 win at home. and Minnesota's covered the spread in 9 straight home games versus Phoenix. The books opened this at -6.5. After the injury report dropped, shot up to -10.5. And the public's riding with the Lynx too, that -600 moneyline speaks volumes. Final pick, give me Minnesota -10.5. Too much depth, too much defense, too much home dominance. Phoenix is running on fumes, and the Lynx are built to exploit every weakness. Projected score, Minnesota 87, Phoenix 72. That's the play. Lock it in and let the defense handle the rest. Golden State Valkyries are rolling up to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Storm. Seattle's sitting as -5.5 favorites, but this line's got layers, so let's break it down. The Valkyries might be struggling in the win column, dropping 4 of their last 5, but don't sleep on how close those games were. They lost to Vegas by 2, then fell to Phoenix by just 1 in a heartbreaker. They're competing, even if the scoreboard says otherwise. Seattle, it's been a mixed bag. They've won 3 of 5, but just choked away a fourth-quarter lead at home to the Mystics. Head coach Noel Quinn called out the inconsistency herself. This team starts slow, fades late, and that's trouble when you're laying points. Stat-wise, it's a battle of offense versus defense. Seattle's got the edge on paper, 45% from the field, top 3 in both field goal percentage and 3-point shooting. Skylar Diggins is hooping, and they share the rock with over 21 assists per game. But Golden State lives on lockdown, second-best scoring defense in the league, first in opponent field goal percentage, and they clamp the paint, just 28.8 points allowed inside per game. That's a big deal versus a Storm team that gets over 57% of their points from inside. They're 13-8 against the spread, and when they're underdogs, 12-6. They've already beaten Seattle twice this season outright as 5-point and 10-point dogs. Seattle's just 4-7 ATS at home. That's not the kind of edge you want laying -5.5. Both squads play slow. This one's shaping up to be a grind. Golden State's hit the under in 13 of 21 games, and the Storm are 6-5 to the under at home. Final pick, give me Golden State plus 5.5. This team shows up against the Storm. Defense travels, and even if Seattle edges out the W, this spread is too generous to pass on. Projected score, Seattle 78, Golden State 74. Give me the under on top of that. Close game, defensive slugfest. Golden State keeps it tight and cashes the cover. We got a Eastern Conference showdown at the Barclays. The Indiana Fever take on the New York Liberty. Tip-off's locked in at 7:30 p.m., and the Liberty are laying -9.5 on the spread. But this one's got storylines, injuries, and momentum swings all over it, so let's break it down. Let's start with Indiana. The Fever have been hot, winners of 3 straight, including back-to-back double-digit dubs over Dallas and Connecticut. But here's the catch, they're on a back-to-back. And Caitlin Clark left last night's game late with a leg tweak. That's major, even if she suits up. Her explosiveness might be limited, and that's the engine of this Fever offense. Clark's been stuffing the stat sheet. 16.7 points, 9 assists, and her defense has quietly improved. She had 5 steals and a block versus Dallas. She's flanked by 2 more All-Stars. Kelsey Mitchell dropping nearly 20 a night, and Aaliyah Boston holding it down inside. Now let's flip to New York. The Liberty are steady at 14-6, and they're coming off a wild comeback win over Atlanta, storming back from down 19. And let's not forget, they just handled Vegas too. Even without Jonquil Jones, the Liberty got weapons everywhere. Brina Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and even role players like Leni Fibic stepping up big. And don't sleep on their transition game. They lead the W in fast break scoring. Indiana's efficient, 46% from the field, top 3 in scoring, but they struggle with fast break defense and are dead last in pace control. Liberty, 86 points per game, elite from deep, and their defense is no joke, second in defensive rating, second in opponent field goal percentage. At home, they clamp down and take care of business. Season series is split 1-1, but the edge goes to NY. They're rested, deeper, and better built for this grind. Indiana's coming in tired, possibly without their floor general, and New York's defense is built to capitalize. Final pick, I'm riding with the Liberty -9.5. If Clark's limited or out, this could get ugly fast. The Liberty have too many options, too much defense, and they're gunning for a statement win before the break. Projected score, New York 88, Indiana 77. We're closing out today's WNBA slate with a Western Conference clash between 2 teams headed in very different directions. The Las Vegas Aces are on the road in Dallas to take on the struggling Wings. The Aces come in at 10-11, floating around that 8th playoff spot. but they just snapped a 2-game skid with a wild 104-102 win over the Valkyries. They've been inconsistent all year, but the energy is shifting now that A'ja Wilson is back. Dallas, man, they're sinking. The Wings are 6-16 and riding a 3-game losing streak. They just got torched by Indiana, giving up 102 points, and things don't look like they're turning around anytime soon. Eric Ogunboyle is toughing it out with a torn thumb ligament, but she went 0 for 10 in her last game. That's your second leading scorer, barely hanging on. Dijon Carrington and Maddie Segrist, both key pieces, both banged up or out. It's a skeleton crew out there. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson returned from concussion protocol and dropped 34 and 16. Jackie Young added 30, and Chelsea Gray's still steady with 12 a night. When Vegas is locked in, they're dangerous, especially against a defense like Dallas. The Aces are averaging 103.4 points per 100 possessions. Not elite, but efficient enough. Dallas, though, allows a brutal 110.5 points per 100. They're dead last in free throw attempts allowed, and with Vegas' physical frontcourt, that's a red flag. These two met earlier this season. Vegas won by 4, despite shooting worse, thanks to 16 more points at the free throw line. And that trend's likely to continue. They've won 8 of the last 10 meetings, 5-2 ATS in the last 7, and the over. It's hit in 7 straight between these squads. Final call, I'm locking in Las Vegas minus 5.5. A'ja is healthy, Dallas is limping. The Aces need momentum going into the break, and they're catching the Wings at the perfect time. Projected score, Las Vegas 90, Dallas 82. That's an 8-point win, and a clean cover for the former champs. Alright Zone 6 fam, before we slide out, let's run it back real quick. Full slate today, and we locked in 5 solid plays across the board. Here's the heat. First up, Atlanta versus Chicago. We rolled with Atlanta minus 8.5. No Angel Reese, no Ariel Atkins. The Sky just too short-handed. Dream got the depth, the offense, and the edge. Next, Phoenix at Minnesota. Easy call, Minnesota minus 10.5. The Lynx don't play around at home, and Phoenix is limping into this one without Sabally or Copper. This one could get ugly. Third, Valkyries versus Storm. Give me the Valkyries plus 5.5. They've already beat Seattle twice this year. And that defense? Serious. Storm been shaky, especially ATS at home. Fever versus Liberty. We're rocking with New York minus 9.5. Indiana's on a back-to-back, and Caitlin Clark might be limited. Liberty's defense and pace should carry them to a clean double-digit win. And finally, Aces versus Wings. We locked in Vegas minus 5.5. A'ja Wilson is back and dominant, and the Wings just don't have the personnel to keep up. Too many injuries, too many buckets. That's the recap. 5 games, 5 angles, and 5 picks to cash in on. That's a wrap for today's slate. Fam, look, the last 2 days, we went 0 and 4. It happens. This game's all about the long haul. And over here at Zone 6 Picks, we don't fold, we bounce back. Today, we locked in with confidence, clean matchups and strong angles, and we're looking to run it all the way up. So if you're rocking with the picks, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next play when it drops. And follow us across the board. We're bringing the heat daily with no filters, no cap at just winners. Stay locked, stay sharp. See you in the zone.